Thank you, Taylor. Our next senior speech will be presented by Mia Ferdinand. Mia has been attending St. Stephen's for 7 years. She is active in St. Stephen's athletics and is a member of our cheerleading, basketball, and tennis teams. We will now hear Mia Ferdinand's senior speech.
Thank you, Julia. Good morning. If you know me a little bit, you know I like sports. It's a very cliche topic to talk about, but it's really true. Sports have gotten me through quite literally almost everything. Taking my very first sport, tennis, the sport that I've actually stuck with, and pretty shocked to this very day about that, but ever since the age of 5, when my parents put me into my very first summer camp, I fell in love. Everything about tennis I loved, from learning how to hold a racket to hitting the ball completely outside the fence. I knew that from that age, I wanted to keep playing, and so I did. I went every single day to that summer camp and went again for the next 2 years. As I grew older, I found tennis academies all over. I began to look deeper into them and eventually began to play at one. I was introduced to tournaments, new gameplay, things that I know were crucial to becoming a tennis player. It was very overwhelming for me, but I loved it. This was the moment I realized how much I do truly love competing. But it wasn't until I reached middle school that this love of competing came alive. 6th grade rolls around the corner, and I finally have the chance to be on the middle school girls tennis team, especially given that I was a new student here in 6th grade. All the different sports options seemed so cool to me, but my mom, being her, only let me pick one other sport due to tennis being in the spring. Looking at the other options for what sports to compete in, basketball looked the most appealing to me. Almost my entire family has played basketball, whether it was just for fun or even in college. I had to give it a try. So I did, in fact, try out for the middle school girls basketball team. It was a real wake-up call with all the running involved, but I just loved how competitive it was. I never skipped a practice, I played all the games, I was just having the time of my life. I went on to play for the rest of middle school, and I can confirm that I am in fact still playing basketball. Now that you have a general recap of my love for sports, as a senior, I can really look back at how sports have helped me through the years. But even at some points, sports got tough to maintain. Through my sophomore and junior years, my tennis workload started to increase more and more. I've always wanted to play in college, but I didn't realize what that actually took. Tennis became more of a burden. It became harder to go to practice, harder to really love what I was doing. I was completely lost. Dealing with this increased practice schedule and trying to maintain my own life at home and at school at the same exact time really brought me down. It brought down what I've loved for practically my whole life. My parents started to notice this spiral that I had fallen into, and my mom, being the first one to call me out on this, said, "I know it's tough now, but once you achieve your goal of becoming the athlete and student you've always wanted to be, you'll be so proud of yourself. You've got this, I know you can do it." This made me almost cry, but I was beyond unorganized with everything that I was doing those years of my life. It took me some time to finally put together a schedule that worked for me, but I did. I made time for myself while still putting in as much time and effort I need for both my academic and athletic career. Now, going into my second interim into my senior year of high school, I can finally say that I'm so beyond happy with what I've achieved. Once I set out all of my things that I needed to do and accomplish, I feel more organized than I ever have before. Putting a routine and setting out all of the things that I wanted to accomplish in your life, I realized is so beyond important. Even though sports was and still is my outing and my own getaway from stress, that even gets hard to deal with. So, take the time to debrief and really look at what you're dealing with. Take the time to organize a routine for yourself so that you can achieve everything you put your mind to. Nothing can get in the way of that. And now just a few thank yous to the people who've helped me get through high school, to my family. Dominic, thank you for becoming my best friend this year. You're so annoying in every way possible, but I love you. I'll miss you next year. Dad, thank you for being my biggest mentor and inspiration. Thank you for always arguing with me about quite literally everything, teaching me how to play any sport I've ever asked you about, and always having my back on almost anything. From teaching me how to hold a tennis racket, to teaching me about business and what I want to major in when I go to college, I appreciate you so much. You've taught me so much, and I'll miss your lectures about everything when I go to college. I love you. Mom, where do I begin with you? Mom, thank you for being my rock, my therapist, and caregiver all in one. I wouldn't be who I am without you. I aspire to be somewhat of a person you are. You have the most beautiful soul inside and out. You're so kind and beautiful, and I can't thank you enough for everything you've done for me throughout my entire life. I love you so much, and I can't wait for you to call me every single night when I leave for college. And lastly, to my friends, especially Sophie, for being there for me whenever I need her possible. To my tennis coach, Coach Martin, thank you for actually being my most genuine and real coach I've ever had. To all the sports teams in St. Stephen's communities that I've been accepted into over the years that I've played. The cheer team, love you guys. The basketball team, just a quick thank you to Megan and Ava. And the tennis team, you guys are cool sometimes. And finally, the teachers here, thank you for showing me kindness and helping me become my best self possible over the years. Thank you.